Hi, folks. I'm Don Meisner, and I want to welcome you to UpNorthNY Chat with Dave Swanson. And what we're going to do is talk about fishing. But today is really a powerful day for me because over the last short period of time, one of my greatest friends that's accompanied me through so many fishing experiences, Louie Barkley, passed away. And most people that had ever watched my TV show for 20 some years were watching Louie Barkley. And they'd always come up to me and say, "How's Louie? How's Louie?" And I think the reason that I want to show this today is when somebody that is so close to you passes away, it brings back memories. And those memories tend to take over everything. And so I started to think about all the times fishing with Louie. And the memories I have aren't so much about the fish we caught, but how he enlightened and highlighted every experience that we have in the outdoors. And that really, to me, is what fishing is all about. Today, we're going to look at a day that I spent with Louie near Montebello, which is a place in Quebec. It's a beautiful place on the banks of the Ottawa River, but there's other little back lakes that are right near there. And one of those back lakes is where Louie and I were fishing. And I think as you watch, you'll understand why Louie became a legend to all outdoor North Country people and why he made so many of my shows that much better.
Don, the video you're referring to is going to be released at about the same time as this chat is on the Up North NY YouTube channel. And it will be released under the title Don and Louie at Lake Maholi. Folks can see segments of it on this chat, but the full version of the video is going to be available as I just described.
When we were shooting back then, and this was, I think, before 2000, but it was right about that time, and the technology of the cameras and so forth that we were using it looks prehistoric compared to what we have today. But that isn't what this is about. This is about showing what a fishing experience can really bring to two people. The lakes that we would fish, and this lake in particular, Louie and I had never been on this lake, so we didn't know where to cast or what fish we were going to catch. But what really came out in this day, not only the incredible time we were having, but I was using a lure that was still in sort of an experimental stage called the Hydra. And Louie, as stubborn as he was, and he would be this way just because I was using it, he would resist me saying, "Oh, Louie, you can use one of these." You'd have to know Louie. So I'm using the Hydra, and I was absolutely amazed at how this lure was catching so many more fish because, let me tell you, it wasn't a question of me being a better fisherman than Louie. Louie's one of the best fishermen I've ever known in my life.
What I think I enjoyed most about that was the interaction that was going on between the two of you. And you talked about your relationship with Louie, and that was Louie altogether. And then, even though he started out refusing to use the lure, then he started accusing you of holding back and not being willing to lend him one. And so he was a wonderful person and a real character, and I'm sure a lot of people in the North Country in particular are going to miss him. One thing I would like to remind you of, and I thought it was a great story. You told me a story about being someplace with Louie that involved a black bear. And as you described that story, if you could tell that story, that was a great story, and I can just picture you and Louie during that experience. I got to tell you, and
tell everybody that's watching this, as you watch this, you can see the personality of Louie sort of just, it bursts out. What made Louie so special is he was the most unpretentious person that I've ever met in my life. What you got is what you got. Whatever he said, he had no filters. And he had this incredible wit. So let me take this to another day. Whenever I was going to go to different places in Quebec, and I was doing these streamside shows in Quebec, tourism was one of our sponsors. It was always important to me that the guests that I invited to go along, like Dave, and in this case, Louie, was somebody that would make those shows even more fun. So we went to this we went to this lake. It was called Kasagami, and it was the home of really big northern pike. And I remember we were way down at the end of this lake. And Louie said, you know, there's a little feeder creek coming in. He says, I'll bet you there'd be northern there. There was reeds and cattails, and it was like a marshy area at the end of the lake. So we got real close to where those cattails were, maybe 20 or 30 feet we're casting in. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, or actually out of those reeds, this giant black bear just stood up very slowly, stood all the way up, way above his 6-foot height, and he looked at us. And I'm telling you, we weren't more than 30 feet away from him, casting in. And he's standing there looking, and slowly he goes back down, almost like a jack-in-the-box. And Louie looks at me, and I looked at Louie, and the both of us were so shocked. And then we both just burst out laughing. He said, what in the world did we just witness? I said, Louie, I don't know, but he's right there. He's hunched right down in those reeds, listening and probably watching us. And, you know, I don't remember how big or how many pike we caught that day, because that's been many years ago. But what I do remember is that experience that Louie and I shared together, that neither one of us ever forgot. We couldn't explain. The bear didn't look angry, wasn't growling at us. He just came up and looked around, knew that there was somebody new in his area. Was he fishing in there? I don't know what he was doing. But this, again, this is what days fishing really have always meant to me. And this is why whenever I was going someplace, if I could have Louie along, I knew we were going to have all the more fun, no matter what happened. You know, looking back at this day, and I remember how I was so overpowered with grief as I thought back to Louie. But then in watching the video this day, it made me realize that, yes, we all pass. We all have our time in this world. But rather than grieve over the loss, I can look back at all these wonderful experiences and realize how much more fishing came to mean to me because I could share those days with Louie.